we're very grateful to be here. So thank you for having us. We love to visit you guys, and we think that this program is wonderful and gives us a chance to talk to people that sometimes are not get involved in this movement. And the reason why we picked plastic pollution is because we asked our community which were the top environmental issues that they care about. And many people were worried about all this enormous amount of plastic waste and garbage that you see now everywhere. I don't know if you have noticed in cities like even Washington D.C., where we have a good waste management collection, in the city actually does a decent job with all of those things. You now see more and more cups and straws and bottles and coffee cups everywhere. Can you imagine in places in the world where there is no waste management of any kind? So a lot of these waste, which contains a lot of plastics, 15% more or less of all the waste in the planet is plastics, ends up in the ocean. Because in the places where there is no good management and people also do not have any choices of what to do with their waste, what they do, they go throw them in streams, they throw them in ravines, they throw them in the rivers, and then where all this water goes eventually goes to the ocean. And it's being said that in 15 to 20 years there's going to be more plastic than fish by weight in the ocean. And the problem with plastic is that it's
hold
not
on,
like
hold on.
other
Hold
things.
on. They can't say that. That was a statement there that needs to be said again. Say that again.
I said about 20 or 25 years from now, there's going to be more plastic than fish by weight in the ocean.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the problem with plastic, as you know, is it doesn't go away. If you bury a little piece of plastic and you go there 50 years from now, you're going to still find it exactly where you left it. But if you unleash plastic in the water, because of the movement, because it's hitting things, it starts breaking little pieces. So it doesn't really disappear. It just becomes many, many, many more pieces of the same plastic, and you cannot even see it. Sometimes it's microscopic. And now we know that there is fibers and microplastics in the water that we drink that we cannot see, even in bottled water, and water is being treated by cities, basically in the oceans by the billions and billions and billions of little pieces, and fish and crustaceans and other ones eat it because they don't know the difference. If you are a turtle, you're around and you see a plastic bag floating in the ocean, you may think that it's food, and you just go swallow it. And can you imagine all these animals have all kinds of plastic bags in their stomachs?
And we just saw that.
They die.
Yeah.
Like this whale
Right,
that they found recently. There's another one that was found in another country.
Thailand and Spain.
And this is happening more and more and more. And the problem at the end of the day is that the fish in the plastic, we don't know exactly what happens with that plastic in the fish. It may end up in their flesh or not. And plastic carries pollutants because it's not just the plastic itself. In order to make plastic, you use certain chemicals. Those chemicals certainly are not good in your stomach.
And they're
then,
like a toxic sponge.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
polymers are like 1,000,000 times more effective than seawater in attracting other chlorinated compounds like the legacy polluters, the DDT and PCB. So they bring in all the poisons, and then it comes up through the food web. And this is the scary part of it is that it's
And
expanding.
for folks who don't know those acronyms, break this down for people listening.
Yeah, these are basically, it's just plastic never goes away, but it attracts other chemicals that are petroleum-based, essentially. And that's sort of the common theme. I mean, we're marching on Saturday against offshore drilling and spilling, against plastic pollution of the ocean, and we're refocusing, the community's refocusing away from just consumer education. We don't want kids going in restaurants and haranguing underpaid servers because they're serving them straws, plastic straws. We want to focus on corporate accountability. This is where all this tsunami of plastic, single-use throwaway plastic is coming from these major corporations. So we're against the Trump administration's plan to open up all our waters to oil, certainly, against plastic pollution, and we're for coastal restoration, resilience, which means basically our communities are all at risk because of rising seas. The common thread between our three demands for the March for the Ocean is really petroleum. We really have to get beyond it. I mean, coal and oil were great energy systems for the 16th and 19th century, but this is the 21st, and we have solutions. That's the other theme of this. We're marching because you protect what you love.
But hold on, let me actually deal with that for a second, because you said a few things for both of you actually. Please, I want you to respond to this, because you made an important point. One, the cover of National Geographic had an amazing cover. For those who haven't seen that, Nat Geo had a cover that looked like an iceberg, but it was actually a plastic bag. It was a great way of using art to kind of illustrate the problem. But this is the thing here. You mentioned this, that this march, which is very important, and we're going to make sure that folks know how to get to the march, because you heard reasons why we need to march for the oceans. But let's go back to this ban on plastics, because you said two different things. There's a larger, David, plan on banning plastic that's kind of going forth, and how we should go forth with that. And then, Valeria, you mentioned a point about banning plastics, how folks are, let's be talking about the straws and stopping that, which is also, we have our good friend Adrian Grenier, who's about stop sucking. And so let's put because sometimes our movement can be kind of siloed. Let's put those two things together. So go first and kind of explain the importance of this ban plastics from your perspective.
Well, there is, two types or three types of problems related to plastics. The one is all these items that are created, used for a few minutes, and then thrown away, right? And just to repeat what David said,